Welcome to the Comic Sauce Podcast, where we talk comics and comics culture. I am Henry Liu, and today I am joined by Christian Diadamo. Christian, how's it going?
Hi, Henry. It's going all right. Getting a little bit over a cold, so my voice might be a little different, but other than that, I'm doing pretty well.
Right on. I'm also joined by Porfirio Rangel. Porfirio, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm just also vibing here, just like trying to enjoy the nice SoCal weather that you guys just left, but I'm chilling.
Right on. Yeah, the three of us were reunited last weekend. Today is March 31st, 2023, and last weekend we were all at WonderCon in Anaheim, California. And yes, the weather was beautiful. Christian and I returned to rather chilly Bay Area weather. We're missing it right away. Um, but yeah, we will get into WonderCon 2023. We all went for all 3 days, so we got a lot to talk about there. Let's see, real quick. The Comic Sauce Podcast is on social media at Comic Sauce Pod on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, this will be a pretty free-form conversation. We can just pretty much talk about the highlights. What was the best stuff? You know, I guess we should say first off that Porfirio, you and I did attend WonderCon last year,
hmm
but it wasn't for the full weekend. Like I went Saturday, Sunday, and you were there just for Saturday, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. And Christian, this was your first year at WonderCon just this past weekend, right?
Oh yeah.
So we got the full experience Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We had a hotel right at the convention center. We stayed at the Marriott. And yeah, needless to say, we got the full experience. So highlights. I know we all had a really good time. So there are a lot of highlights, but maybe we could do some specific call outs. Porfirio, you want to start? Anything you want to call out from the get go here?
The hotel, honestly, that was a big lifesaver. Like, uh, like I know I didn't stay at the hotel, but just having you guys staying there, that was really convenient. Just being able to like go back and forth, to change out of cosplay or get into cosplay or drop stuff off that we got from the con. Um, like yeah, like they stayed at you guys, Henry and Christian stayed at the Marriott, which was legit right like next door, like a 5 minute walk from the Anaheim Convention Center. And it was super convenient.
Yes. Yes, it was.
I can't talk about the hotel experience because of what you guys told me. It sounds really funny and crazy expensive, but just having like next year, I don't know. I kind of feel like I would be down to just get part of that hotel experience, but it was just really convenient having like a room right next door.
Yeah, I agree. It was a big plus. I mean, for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much, if you're going to a comic convention, it will be super helpful to have a hotel room right there. I mean, if you're cosplaying like we did, super helpful. If you're buying shit on the exhibit floor, super helpful. I mean, you name it, it just comes in real handy. And yeah, there were a number of times where I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot something." I just went back. And that, "Oh shit, I just forgot something," might have been like an hour detour out of the way at, a different situation, but having the hotel right there, it was just like minutes off of my schedule, no problem. So yeah, I know that's a good call. That's a good call. The hotel, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I was thinking about all the stuff we did, but yeah, like that's definitely worth calling out. That
That was
hotel
part of the
was
experience,
that's
you
great.
know, like it like I said, it saved me like a lot of those cosplays that I did.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about this too, because it was so close that when we did do cosplays, we got dressed right in the room. So again, convenient, but
Hmm.
also walking to the convention, we were never like among the general population of the world, right? When we were in cosplay, we were immediately in the world of WonderCon, so there was kind of a safe environment, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, like like I dressed up in like the weirdest like outfits. I'll go into more detail, but I mean like I had like boots with high ass heels, short shorts, a Spider-Man outfit, and like if you saw like my costumes or anyone wearing like a crazy costume cosplay like in the middle of the street, you'll definitely get stared at. But
Yeah.
just like even like walking in like the elevator or in the lobby, like you were like among like other cosplayers or just folks who were attending the con. So it was definitely like you said a safe space because people were just like as we were passing by, I can hear like people's conversations being like, "Oh, that's Spider-Man," or like, everybody's just like saying like trying to name the cosplaying or whatever. And so it was definitely like a safe space being among folks where you weren't like stared at like a exotic animal at a zoo or something.
Yeah.
Um, but it was really fun, just even though like yeah, we weren't at the convention, just being in the lobby was also just it felt like you were at the con because you're part of that experience.
Yeah.
Like some people like I don't know if you guys saw, but like like when people were like driving like out front to like get like their car valid like valet parking or whatever,
Yeah.
like they'd have like the bellboy like get their luggage and stuff, and like I saw like huge luggages. I saw wigs, I saw fan art, I saw costumes and shoes, I saw like props. Like it was like, oh, okay, I know what you're here for. Like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys noticed that, but that was really awesome.
Yeah. I noticed that too. Like the whole time, it just felt like we were in that like pop culture fandom environment. And it is a good thing. It just felt like, yeah, this is where it's at. It never felt like odd to be in costume. It just felt like everyone was part of this like fun collective, right?
Hmm.
Any thoughts on the hotel, Christian?
Yeah, it definitely made everything so convenient. It made it so like 'cause sometimes when you cosplay, you get tired of wearing it after like a few hours,
Yeah,
and you don't have to lug it around with you when you change. You could just go back and change, and then just go back and like enjoy the con again,
yeah.
without any issue. I think something else that I thought was really cool, also kind of with the hotel experience, was afterwards there was the after party at a different hotel, the Hilton,
Yeah,
called LobbyCon, which we
yes.
popped into for a minute. And you walk in, and a lot of people had largely changed out of their costume, but some people were still rocking it. But they had this bar in front in the lobby, and that bar was packed. That bar was like full of people. Like
Yeah.
and then you go up to the second floor, and there was a couple rooms dedicated to WonderCon as well. One was like just kind of a smaller room with like kid um, stuff to draw, color, and then another room, which is really cool, was just a room full of games. They brought a lot of board games, and a lot of people were doing card games, Magic, Pokemon, and there was also D&D Adventures League going on. So you could find a pickup group to do D&D and play from like after the con's over until, whenever you get kicked out, probably midnight. And so I thought that was a fun way to extend the party, especially if you got a hotel at the Hilton or the Marriott, which are right next to each other.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. Good call outs. And that's a good point too. Like officially the WonderCon exhibit floor hours were like noon to 7 on Friday, 10 to 7 Saturday, 10 to 5 Sunday. But WonderCon was so much more than those hours because there was late night programming at WonderCon, like late night panels, late night screenings of stuff. And then like this other stuff you mentioned, that the hotel stuff, LobbyCon and gaming, like pretty much all waking hours, there is stuff to do. And as much as we did, there was like a bunch of stuff we did not get to do. So,
Hmm.
maybe next year, but yeah, it's something else, man. There is just so much to do, and the vibe is just so great. Can't say enough. Okay, so we touched upon the cosplay. Let's just talk about the cosplay. I know it's a big highlight for all of us. Seeing all the amazing cosplays that other people wore and our own cosplays, it was so much fun. Why don't we talk about what we wore, Porfirio, you went big for WonderCon. You had a
Yeah.
different outfit for every day. So, take us through this.
Yeah, I had three outfits, one for each day. I had Friday I did Phoenix.
Yes.
I had like a red bodysuit with yellow high knee-high boots, yellow long gloves, and the yellow rope belt. Um, then Saturday I did Spider Punk because we all like agreed we were gonna do like a spider variant, you know,
Yes.
part of the Spider Verse. So I did Spider Punk, and then Sunday was a very last minute costume decision, but I did Neymar, from the
Yep.
MCU.
Right.
Um, yeah, like originally I was gonna do Scarlet Witch because one of my favorite comic book artist was going to be at WonderCon, but he's from Argentina, and I don't know what exactly happened, but he couldn't make it to WonderCon. So I was like, oh well, if he's not, I was gonna dedicate the Scarlet Witch outfit to take a picture of him, but since he was gonna be there, I was like, oh, might as well just try something new. And I had been wanting to do Neymar for a while, so I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And um, that one I pulled out very last minute, but so glad it turned out nice.
Yes. Yes, it did. Yeah, all three
Hmm.
outfits were amazing. And you showed a high level of dedication here because we were talking about like the after hours programming and after hours stuff to do. Christian and I kind of dabbled in that a little bit, but you not so much, Porfirio, because literally like you were working on your cosplays like during the con basically like Friday night, Saturday night.
Yeah,
You were working on the next day's outfit, right? So kudos to you for putting it all together. It came out great.
thank you.
Yes, it did. It was definitely a
So
hit.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, you got a lot of great attention. A lot of people wanted to take pictures of you, pictures with you, and
Yeah,
just yeah, it was great.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Friday, I think it worked out like each day I think worked out perfectly. Yeah, Friday, yeah, it was the Phoenix costume, which I'm so glad. Yeah, like again, back to the hotel thing. Like I only wore that outfit for like a couple hours because damn, those high heels were killer.
Yeah.
But I think it was the perfect day to wear it because yeah, like it was like kind of like half the day con. And plus we went to that X-Men panel at the end of the day, so it was perfect. And then Spider Punk was really awesome because like I said, we all went as the Spider variant. I think that was the most busiest day,
Yeah.
and where there were a ton of Spider people, and there were just a lot of little kids that were loved our
Oh,
costumes,
yeah.
as
Yeah.
Spider Men,
Yep.
and
Yes.
they were just wanting to take pictures, and it was so adorable. And then yeah, Sunday I think was like the great day to wear Neymar because it was nice and sunny, and like I said, I had like short shorts and like I was practically half naked, like during the day. So it was like perfect that I could
As
like
is Namor.
That's right.
yeah, so it was like perfect that I was able to wear it like during the sunny day, you know.
Yes.
Mhm.
True to the character. But also, like we've been saying, the environment was so inclusive. Like we didn't get weird looks. We got like the right kind of attention, I think you could say, right? Just a lot of love and just geeking out over shared interest, shared fandoms, and just like, enjoying each other's company.
No, yeah, like I definitely like want to touch upon that really fast. Like I want to like tell a fast story. Like I think it was, when we got, because you cosplayed on Friday also, right? As Spider Man.
I did. Yes, I did. We
Yeah,
can
I
get into
did
the
too.
specifics later, but go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Like when Christian was taking pictures of you in front of the fountain where you were like in these like insane Spider-Man poses that I could never do. um yeah, like there was like this older gentleman. I don't know if you guys saw or not, but yeah, there was like this older gentleman. He saw my Phoenix costume and he was just like complimenting me on my boots and stuff, and he was just like, I thought, I don't know, like, with like how things are, like OC's like a little bit more conservative, especially nowadays, like in the more like political, like social world, like with like trans folks and drag queens being banned and everything. I thought he was gonna say something about my look, especially yeah, those high heels. But he was just like, oh, like I really just appreciate like you're in this like safe space where you could like be yourself and wear what you feel comfortable with. And he was explaining that he used to be like a veteran and he fought for like this kind of America where we could go to these spaces like Comic-Con or whatever, or just even outside of Comic-Con, like be who we are and everything. So it was really nice, like being at, I didn't experience any hate. Like I don't know, I was a little hesitant, but I did not experience any like side looks or anything like that with any of my costumes. And so to actually hear like really good compliments like about like the Phoenix costume I was wearing or the Neymar costume, it was really like, again, like you said, Henry, like just like it felt like a safe space, like like I feel like one thing we could talk about later is like those like folks that came on Saturday, the religious
Mhm.
folks, like,
Yeah.
and even then like the Comic Con community like was like totally outspoken against them, but it was definitely like a community that like I felt like kind of like looked out for each other.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great story. Yeah, but and I
Yeah.
100% agree. I got that same feeling all weekend too. Christian, you got something there?
Um, yeah, and like I think like another thing I guess I would like to add, I think was really great about cosplaying and all the people cosplaying was being part of just those big cosplay meetups that we did. I think you were part of a really good one, Porfirio, 'cause there was like an impromptu X-Men
Oh yeah.
cosplay meetup
Uh-huh.
that happened
Yeah.
after a panel
Hmm.
that I got a really good picture. There was a really good picture of, and then
Yeah, you got a good picture. Good. If anyone's listening, Christian is good at taking pictures as of cosplayers. Hire him. Like
Yes.
he took really great pictures with just an iPhone. So hire him for your cosplay pictures.
Indeed.
I've got my rule of thirds down.
Awesome.
And like I think probably the best like part for me of the whole experience was being part of the like a super large Marvel cosplay meetup where all three of us were in costume, all his different variations of Spider-Man,
Hmm.
and we met up around like it was like 3 or something on Saturday to do this Marvel cosplay in front of the entire building, and people just kept showing up and they just kept piling in.
Yeah.
And like I have the picture on my phone and just looking at it, and it's like crazy that they got everybody. I don't even know if they got it. There might still be people like cut out because there was just so many people just in this one spot. But like it makes for such a good picture. and like you just click and you see all these different characters or variations on different characters. There was a next to Henry and I, there was like a Deadpool Moon Knight mashup character, and like and then afterwards, of course, we broke off into different groups, and then we got a picture of all the different Spider-Men, and eventually there, and various other different characters that showed up. It didn't look like they got a picture of all the Iron Men because, as we were saying, there was a lot of Iron Men there, who may or may not have been an actual cosplay group. But
Yeah,
yeah, like just being a part of that was just so much fun and just such a great experience.
it
Mhm.
was. Man, I definitely listed that as one of my weekend highlights too, that Marvel cosplay photo shoot on Saturday. Man, it was so insane. I cannot believe how many Marvel cosplayers showed up for that. It was really nuts. Man,
It was like really chaotic in the best way.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think Christian was talking about this, but like they just kept coming in,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
the time started and there were a lot of people like, okay, this is pretty awesome. We got this many people to show up, but then a few minutes pass by, and then more Marvel characters show up, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then like fucking Galactus shows up and there's like a standing ovation, and then Kang the Conqueror shows up, and like, oh man, it was just wild. And yeah, I 100% agree that just to be a part of that, oh, it was such a great feeling. And it was odd that we were all there to take a photo, but like the end photo was cool, but I mean, literally, there are so many people that it's hard to see like individual cosplayers. Like we were, it was like a Where's Waldo trying to find us in this picture. But just to be there and to be a part of it was really special. I got some really warm feelings just being there. Really awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, continuing on with our own cosplays. Christian, what did you cosplay as at WonderCon?
I was Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse. I had the most
Yes.
comfortable Spider-Man cosplay ever, kind of, because I had to wear a boot on one leg and and like a Converse shoe on another, and so that was really hard because that was like slightly off. Um, but other than that, like I didn't have to wear. I only had to wear like the Spider-Man like compression shirt and not like a full outfit. I had to wear sweatpants
Yeah.
too. So and I already kind of look like him in a way, so I think that turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
Even
Yeah.
though it's like
awesome.
kind of covered, it's like you have to think about it doesn't immediately catch you as, oh, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah. But if you know, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, great outfit. And for reference, I think the best description is what Miles Morales refers to as the janky old broke Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse, right? He looks kind of
Mhm.
like a bum. Yeah. Great outfit. So for me, I did a couple cosplays. I did a Gamerverse Miles Morales, and I did a Miles Morales 2099. So two cosplays. I did the Gamerverse Miles on Friday and Saturday, and then the 2099 on Sunday. So a lot of fun. And oh, going back to like the awesome photography skills of Christian here. Um, on Friday, I wasn't planning on cosplaying Friday. I wanted to do one outfit on Saturday and one on Sunday. But when we first went to the con, we had a little bit of lunch, and then we went and like the great thing about WonderCon is the fountain area is like the cosplay place, right? And it is the perfect location because it is right at the convention center entrance. There's a lot of space, a lot of spots, great spots to take photos of cosplays and etc. I'm telling you, when we showed up there, it was like I want to say 3:30 or so, a Friday afternoon. And I definitely got this magic hour feel where like the sun was hitting the fountain water just so, and it was like beautiful. I'm like, holy shit, this is ideal conditions for cosplay photos. The lighting was like on point, and there wasn't that many people there. You know, it's Friday, not as crowded as Saturday, and there just weren't that many people there. So I was like, dude, I need to suit up right now, and we need to do photos right now. And I'm glad I made that decision because, um, like I said, the lighting was great. There was space, and Mr. Photographer Extraordinaire here, Christian, took some phenomenal photos of me. I mean, I could print and frame some of these photos. I'm so happy how these shots turned out. And I was like, I'm good, man. Like I still did the same cosplay on Saturday. But those photos on Friday, I was like so happy with. So that was a highlight too, getting those photos in. Awesome.
Yeah. Also shout out to Christian for just like for being my little assistant during the whole weekend. Like I could not like with the Spider Punk, I think I was able to, but like with like my um Dark Phoenix and Namor outfit, I couldn't like hold my phone or anything like that. Like I had to be like, Christian, can you put this in my bag? Can you unzip me? Can you hold my phone? Can you hold my wallet? Like, can you put my comic book in your bag? Like Christian was just like low key. Like anywhere Christian wanted to go, I kind of had to follow, or he was just totally like loyal. And it was like, if I want to go here, Christian would be like, okay, yeah, let's go here. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Christian, you helped me out as well a lot. Thank you for that. Porfirio, you helped me too, man. I feel like we had each other's backs the whole weekend. So
Yeah.
it's great having like awesome partners in crime for cons because yeah, it can be hectic, right? Especially if you're cosplaying, especially if you're buying a lot of stuff on the exhibit floor. But amongst us, we had things covered. We had things under control, right?
Yeah.
We're a squad.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Okay. Oh, before we get off of the cosplay stuff, um, what were some notable cosplays? What was like the most popular cosplays and anything that was like really awesome that we want to call out? I know Christian, you had some thoughts on this stuff.
Yeah, like, cause I think, like, what's popular is always a interesting way of seeing, like, what's kind of just generally popular in that, like, nerd pop culture field. And, like, I think the big one that stands out the most this year, of course, is Mandalorian. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
501st is there, and so, of course, you do expect to see, like, some really, like, well-made, well-done Star Wars cosplays. But usually with 501st and a lot of the big Star Wars cosplays, it's different variations on the Boba Fett version of like the Mandalorian style
Hmm.
helmets and armor. But these definitely felt more like the show Mandalorian inspired, where you had Din Djarin. I think I said his name right. Din
Yes.
Djarin's
Yes.
helmet and his armor. Of course, a lot of people had the little Grogu like dolls with them. Or a lot of people may have been other various characters from The Mandalorian, like Bo-Katan, or I'm kind of blanking on some of the other names. I was just watching it, but like I would say that was one of the big ones. I also think like anime's generally pretty always a lot more popular, and I just see more and more anime kind of come out with like the kind of the big breakout series of Chainsaw Man. There's
Hmm.
a lot of the character power. Spy Family was another one I noticed a lot of. Just also in a lot of fan art as well for that one. I saw a lot of people as Yor um, or Anya. And so those were, I think, like the three biggest outside of your usual Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man. Tend to be pretty popular, I think, in all the years we've been going.
Yep.
Uh, And also, like I said, there's some fun. It's also fun to see some of the like the weird crossovers or the weird personal twists people put on. Mentioned there was Deadpool, Moon Knight
Right.
earlier.
Yes, yes, yes.
There was a Team Rocket SWAT team I took a good picture of earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But those are some of the notable ones I saw. What about you guys?
Yeah, Porforio, any cosplay notables for you?
I did see a lot of like surprisingly everything everywhere all at once. There were some
Mm,
cool cosplays from that one, specifically Jamie Lee Curtis's character. Um, I'm trying to think who else I saw. There was a
yeah,
lot of Shang-Chi.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's a few of those, definitely.
mm, yeah, those are definitely like yeah, like two like big ones that I saw. I can't really recall any other ones at the moment, but what about you, Henry?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with what you guys mentioned. Like, I definitely noticed a lot of Mandalorians. Mandalorians were dominating WonderCon for sure. They're everywhere. Um, yeah, we brought up the Iron Mans. That was interesting to me because it seemed like the Phase 3 MCU was not as prevalent as before. Not as many Captain Americas, not a single Thanos, not one. I was definitely looking for Thanos, especially at the big Marvel cosplay meetup, right? Not a single one. But there were a lot of Iron Mans. So like Iron Man is no longer in the MCU. But he's alive and well at conventions. There are a bunch of them, different variations, different marks, different like mashups. Yeah, that was a bit striking. Um, and I just want to shout out one cosplay. There was a really awesome Alfred Molina Doc Ock. Man, it was so cool. Like the tentacles were like, I think they were like movie size. They were huge. And it was a real deal. He must have had like the full-on harness and the wires and everything. But yeah, he had the rest of the look was totally on point. He had the trench coat, the fedora, and the glasses, and it gave me some ideas. Like I was thinking, man, if I could do something like that in the future, I would love to do it because also he looked really comfortable too. Like I was wearing a Spider-Man mask and like I could barely see, and like he's just wearing like street clothes plus the tentacles, right? I'm like, shit, that looks very cool and also pretty comfortable. So props to that guy. All right. Man, a lot of awesome stuff we've called out, and we've barely talked about the convention itself, really. Um, we should call out the panels and the exhibit floor, right? I think the panels and the exhibit floor were really great at WonderCon. Yeah, maybe we can start with the panels. I know, Porfirio, I think you went to panels more than any of us, really, it seemed. What were some of your favorite panels?
I definitely like so yeah, Friday we went to that X-Men fandom panel.
Yeah,
Um and that was really fun. Like again, like this sense of like geek community of just being like in a total like comfort zone and being among like your folks. I think like even like among X-Men fans, like there's like this sense of like, you like the X-Men because, you're like considered like, a misfit, an outsider, and everybody just like was able to relate to that, So it wasn't just like, oh, we all like the X-Men. It's like we all like have this connection to why we like the X-Men.
yeah, yeah.
Um, that was definitely one that stood out to me. I don't remember if I went to any other panel Friday night that I can remember, but yeah, some other ones that stood out were I went to a Power Rangers one that was really fun. I went to the Walking Dead one with the the actress who plays Maggie.
Yeah.
Um, I really like this like horror panel that I went to that like had like what is horror, what's thriller, and there was like different like uh films that they talked about, whether it was a horror film, a thriller film, or the above. That one was really really fun. I really liked that one.
Mm,
Um, oh my gosh, the panel that Christian and I went to with Jane Yang, that one was really cool. Um, I think that's it. I think that's all the panels I went to. They were like all the panels I went to were just a really really great fun.
that's great. Yeah, you mentioned the Walking Dead panel. That was at the arena, and
Yeah.
notably, the arena was closed last year. WonderCon got the arena back for the first time in a long time, and yeah, the whole experience was kind of leveled up from last year, which is cool.
You know, it was. Did you guys attend any panels at the arena,
I didn't.
Christian?
Which one was the arena?
It was
Trying
like it's like this like big like auditorium like room. Like it looks like, yeah, like the seats are like um
Oh, like stadium
Oh,
style.
yeah
stadium
yeah
seating. Oh
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
yeah
yeah, it's a
Uh,
huge room.
yeah, it's like an auditorium. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Um it was, low key, it was a little complicated to get there. You had to go through the exhibit floor and go to through this hallway to get to the arena. It was a little bit complicated, but it was, yeah, it was huge.
Okay. Yeah, none of the panels I went, they were all in like ballrooms and like
mm.
conference rooms.
Okay, okay.
So what were some of your panel highlights, Christian?
Let's see. I guess quickly going back to that X-Men panel. I think that was like the panel I went to that probably had the most energy.
Yeah,
Like, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't really watch much of the X-Men the animated series, but like that was the one they gave out little gifts. They had sheet music from that of the X-Men theme song.
And I
yeah,
fought to
yeah,
get that.
yeah,
Yeah, and it was like signed, and
yeah,
that was really cool. They were previewing like a small little event or convention at a mansion. I forget what it was called.
It was the Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, it was like the Uncanny Experience, something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah. That's right.
Uh-huh.
The uncanny experience. I have the pin right over here. Yeah,
And they had a
looks
little
cool.
trailer for that where it's like you got like a quote unquote mutant power, and you got like a little like Charles Xavier school for the gifted like little like badge, as well as like there were like different like X-Men themed events. Chris Claremont's gonna be there, and it seemed like a really cool like little like X-Men themed convention in a mansion to give it that feel.
Yeah,
And they were giving out pins for that, and then like afterwards there was like this little like cosplay shoot of all the X-Men themed cosplays that were there, including uh one of the producers of the X-Men animated series
yeah,
was there,
yep. And Porfirio.
and of course Porfirio
Yep,
as Dark
he was in there.
Phoenix.
Yes.
And so that was really great. That was definitely a big highlight for me. And like I said, I never actually watched much like X-Men growing up. And then like let's see, like a couple other panels that I went to. They had one where they had different like video game soundtracks, and they kind of let you got to see creators from different BioShock was like probably the biggest one, as well as like a couple like smaller games. And they talked about the process of writing music for games, writing music that's meant to be played in short loops, and how they went about it, and like ways to go about it. And you got to like see little reels of how they played and kind of their thought process, and how they'll create music for longer amounts of time that will generally change and will have to loop in different ways on in editing. And so like your music has to be modular, quote unquote. and how much of a challenge that may or may not be. And so I thought that was a really cool panel. Another one was one for the Batman the Animated Series, uh, specifically the movie Mask of the Phantasm, where you had fans and they had the animation director from Mask of the Phantasm there, and you got some really cool behind the scenes tidbits. I think one was how they made the movie and how rushed they were to make this movie. How originally it was meant to be a few episodes of Batman the Animated Series that would premiere as a TV movie, but midway into production, they were told that it was going to get a big theatrical release, which of course changes everything when you're making a movie because the format changes, the scale changes, the marketing changes. And so it's a movie that they essentially made, especially in animation, before digital animation back in like the early to mid 90s in just a matter of months, really, like less than 2 years. Like might have been 18 months, so I think it was like a year and a half. And the movie has such like a cult following nowadays, so it's crazy to hear about something that was rushed turning out as well as it did. And yeah, so I would say those are definitely my panel highlights. What about you,
Uh,
Henry?
cool, cool. Yeah, great call outs. Yeah, uh, I have to say the same. Like, I attended that X-Men fandom panel also, and it was really cool, you know? Like, I too am not a big X-Men fan, but it didn't matter. Like, you could feel, like you were saying, Porfirio, the sense of community in that room, the sense of inclusion, and it was just a really beautiful thing. There were just these folks who all really dig the X-Men, and they talked about, like, their lives and why the X-Men are important to them. And, I'm saying, you don't have to be an X-Men fan to understand how much, like, something can mean to you, like fandom, how much fandom can mean to you, right? So the fact that they're talking about X-Men didn't matter. Like, I can apply my own favorite fandoms, and I can relate to everything that was brought up. And yeah, like, uh it was just a really kind of warm and fuzzy feeling. Great way to start the convention. You know, that was the first day, Friday night, and it kind of kicked things off, and it just made me feel good about being there.
Hmm.
Other than that, I also attended the Jack Kirby tribute panel. Christian, you and I went to that, and that was really cool too. It was moderated by Mark Evanier, who was the former assistant to Jack Kirby. And he had a bunch of cool, like, old school comics people on the panel, including Marv Wolfman, who's like a pretty legendary comics writer, but just a lot of people who connected with Jack Kirby to differing extents through the years. And everyone just had like these little stories about Jack, and um really cool, like stuff that you you would never hear about other than panels like this. Like, this is the only way to hear stuff like that. I guess Mark Evanier is publishing a book where you can hear about some of this stuff, but you really get this cool insight to these interactions, because Jack Kirby is gone, and he's long gone, and it's cool to hear these little stories. So they call it a tribute panel, and it really is. It really is a tribute to the king of comics. So that was awesome. And honestly, I didn't get to attend a whole lot of panels. And I got to tell you, the reason why is because I felt the need to be on the exhibit floor as much as possible. let's talk about the exhibit floor a little bit. Like I've found the WonderCon exhibit floor to be completely intoxicating. Like you couldn't get me away from there. It's huge. It is like there's so much awesome about it, you know. I think like it caters to all fandoms basically. I think in particular, if you're into comics, holy shit, like there are a lot of comics at WonderCon, and I was in like comic collector heaven there, basically. Um, and you know, we talked about this a bit that weekend, but um, almost a negative of WonderCon is you can't really schedule yourself. You can't really plan your time out that well. And so that's somewhat of a negative, but it's also a kind of a positive because the exhibit floor at WonderCon is like it's not really well advertised. I know Porforio, you were kind of complaining to me about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think there's kind of a reason for it. They want to have this air of mystery, right? And like it worked for me because I was like, what am I gonna see next? Like, let me go back there. I might have missed something. Something might be going on there that is just like awesome that I don't know about. And I just felt like this gravitational pull to be there all the time. And you know, I found some really cool shit. So yeah, the exhibit floor was a huge highlight for me. Just real quick, yeah, I bought a lot of Miles Morales comics last weekend, a lot. I completed my full run of Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. I have all issues now. Thank you, WonderCon. I also have the full run of the Spider-Man series, series one. Again, thank you, WonderCon. And I picked up a bunch of like pretty elusive Miles Morales ratio variants, which I am always hunting for, and I found a bunch. So I am a happy camper, comic collecting wise. Yeah, what about you guys? Any particular call outs in terms of the exhibit floor here?
Y- Like the exhibit floor is definitely something where I feel like there were times where we walk around it and we think, "Oh, we thought we saw everything." And then we just kind of pointed in a direction and then realized there was an entire section that we haven't seen yet. And it felt like it just kept going, which is really cool. It was a really good feeling,
Yeah,
just how vast the whole thing was. And that definitely brought back this like sense of awe that I haven't felt in like a long, long time because it was just so large. It was definitely like, such a big part of the con or, the biggest part of the con,
yeah,
one of
yeah,
the best parts.
definitely.
And I think going to like Silicon, which has been I don't mean to kind of harp on that, but it has been getting smaller and the floor of Silicon was pretty small. So going from that to this was just a big like wow factor, as well as a lot of great comics vendors
Yeah,
there, like a lot of single issues, a lot of big ones. I definitely found like someone like they weren't even selling it, but someone brought in Batman #1. It was gonna go up for
mhm,
auction, so it wasn't on sale, of course, but that was really cool to actually see Batman #1 with my own eyes.
yeah,
Even if, even if it was behind, something as well. All the graphic novel vendors, there was a lot of them, and so I got a lot of sweet little finds, stuff that I may have looking for or wasn't looking for, but decided I really wanted, and they were all like 25 to 50% off. So there were some really, really great deals there. So I ended up picking up a fat stack of graphic novels, as well as some weirder vendors. I think I love Magic the Gathering. There wasn't a lot of Magic. In fact, there was really only like one real vendor, but they had a case of what's called the Power Nine, the elusive greatest cards in Magic the Gathering, printed like the Black Lotus, printed when Magic was first printed.
Hmm.
they decided were too powerful and they were never printed again. And they've kind of had this like legendary status, of course, making them super expensive. And there was one card, Ancestral Recall, that was signed by Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering. And that was a cool little find there that I
Oh.
found. Of course, way out of my price range. I didn't spend $3,000 on one card. Um, as well as, several thousand more on a Black Lotus, but it was nice to see. I was like, wow, I actually get to see these with my own eyes.
Yeah, it's cool.
Seeing these like rare artifacts of nerddom was like really, really great, you know, even if it's, you know, even though it's just behind glass, even if
Yeah.
it's behind there, it's like seeing, oh man, oh, there's Babe Ruth's rookie card.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman #1. Oh shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, just to be in the presence of greatness, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. How about you, Porfirio? Any exhibit floor call outs?
I was definitely in the artist alley a lot. Um,
Yes.
you know, we- I know, like, yeah, you mentioned earlier how I did not like how WonderCon didn't advertise their guests, and I actually learned about a lot of guests on the artist alley through like Instagram, like looking up the
Mm,
hashtag WonderCon.
yeah.
And then, since that traced back to like artists just advertising where their booth was or where they're going to be, whatever. And it was through that I learned that, like, the writer for the Tim Drake Robin series was going to be there, the creator of Echo, the writer for the Blue Beetle series, what's the artist name?
Oh, Jim Chung.
Jim Chung.
Yeah.
um like yeah, like I had to, yeah, like look through Instagram to see all these amazing artists that were going to be there, comics writers. um but I was definitely in artist alley a lot. I spent a lot of time there. um there were cool booths that had, like, like the 25-50% off, like Christian said, but I have so many comics that I just don't read. And I think, like, it was just like last minute like instinct when we went back on Sunday. I was like, I'll probably just get it. um but it was, yeah, it was definitely fun. I think, I had the same experience as Christian did last year. Like when I first walked into the the floor, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. It's a lot bigger than Silicon. But I think, yeah, like if you're gonna go to like WonderCon, try to get, like, yeah, like at least go for 2 days. Like
Mm,
one day does not do it justice because you have the panels, you have the floor, and the floor itself is just freaking humongous.
yeah.
So um yeah, the floor was just really awesome though, and a lot of fun. I think I went like twice over my budget on the floor,
Yeah.
but definitely a lot of fun.
Awesome. I guess I should note that I did win a couple exclusives. This is a fairly new thing that they do at WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con, but to cut down on like some of the madness where you line up early in the morning trying to win stuff, they have like these online lotteries, and surprisingly, I actually won a couple. I won a signing for the upcoming movie Knights of the Zodiac. So I got to, do that on Friday. That was really cool. Met some really cool actors, including Famke Jensen, who played Phoenix previously. Um, Also won a Funko time slot on Sunday, which is like pretty wild because I know those are really highly sought after, and I think they're impossible to get at San Diego, but I actually got to go inside the Funko booth on Sunday, and it's pretty cool. Like, it's not just you walk in, and you can buy stuff and you leave. They kind of put on a show for you. They had a carnival like atmosphere at the Funko booth this year. It's like a fun house themed thing. So yeah, that was cool just to be a part of that and to experience that. So a lot of awesomeness on the exhibit floor. Um, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think we can start wrapping up. We can maybe just kind of get to bottom line type stuff. I we've been talking about it this whole time, but there was just this really amazing vibe at WonderCon, and yeah, like it's hard to describe, but maybe I'll put it this way. So we've been comparing it to, Silicon, formerly known as Silicon Valley Comic Con, and um, that has really been our go-to in recent years. The convention has become kind of a smaller niche convention, so it's been fun, but the excitement level just has kind of gone down. There's just not as many people, not as many vendors. With WonderCon, though, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of people, tons of cosplayers. And we've been talking about the exhibit floor, tons going on, and there's just that excitement level. But on the flip side, like I myself am a longtime San Diego Comic Con attendee, and you talk about excitement level and crowds and stuff. I mean, that's like the top of the mountain there, but also in a negative way because San Diego Comic Con is always super crowded. Even last year when the attendance was a little less than previously, like they kind of limited the badges a bit. Even then, it was like pretty insane. And when you get like that many attendees in one place, there's just gonna be some grumpiness and people running into each other, some rudeness here and there, some security people who maybe aren't so happy. But I am telling you, at WonderCon last week, everyone was cool. Like everyone. Like, we talked about the hotel staff super friendly, riding the elevator down, fellow attendees in the elevator saying, "Oh, you going to WonderCon? Like, oh, you looking forward to it?" Having fun conversations, walking through the lobby, right to the convention, minutes away. The whole time, we keep talking about the safe space. It felt like we were in a safe space the whole time. And like we're talking about like the valets were out in front of the lobby, like the the car valets, they were pointing at me, "Hey, Spider-Man, what's up?" Like they were into it, and just everyone was happy. It was just uh, an incredible vibe the whole weekend. Um, People, food vendors, people working on the exhibit floor. Everyone was nice. Everyone was just like having a good time, and it really made for an awesome experience. So I really can't say enough. But how about you guys? Any parting thoughts? Any summary kind of any call outs here for WonderCon?
Yeah, I will say like one thing, this might start out sounding like a negative, but it's really not, is that there weren't really any like big, like massive star guests.
Like
Uh,
celebrity guests.
yeah, big celebrity guests from like say like a TV show or a movie, you know. Um, there was no your Arnold Schwarzeneggers or like there would be Grant Gustin as the Flash. There were no like big panels, and they weren't really like the focus of WonderCon. And while it might feel like something might be missing there because they were such like a center focus. The fact that they weren't there kind of let a lot of other elements shine a lot more.
Hmm.
Um, Going to the San Jose Comic Con where they were a much bigger focus, you would kind of like, oh, let's go see this panel for this show, and I want to see this actor, and then we'll go to this later. I got to get this signed by this star, Whereas you have this massive floor, you had we spent time outside in front at these cosplay meetups, and you had much smaller guests that were very like comic focused. Uh, Tom King, Jay Lee, Gene Yang, and many other kind of smaller guests. And as well as like we might have went to a panel we might not have gone to or might not have had time for at a different convention. And so it kind of let a lot of those other elements really shine and really like kind of come together into one just great vibe. So
Right on.
even a negative, even what might have been a negative turned into a big positive
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everything else was so great.
Yeah, that's a good note because as long as we're like kind of comparing cons, that's something worth noting because historically I have been really into like meeting celebrities, doing photo ops, that sort of thing. WonderCon is not really good for that sort of thing. Um, right now, I would say like New York Comic Con, C2E2, the Fan Expo conventions, those are really good for like autographs and photo ops with celebrities. WonderCon is not like the convention for you if that's like your main focus. As you know, it should be called out. But yeah, almost like what you're saying, Christian, it's kind of a positive here because it does have focus in other areas,
Hmm.
in terms of like content creators, comics creators. Oh man, there's it's chock full, and the accessibility is great. There are tons of panels where you can get to hear these people talk about their art, and a lot of them are right there on the exhibit floor. Just go visit them. So
Hmm.
um, that's awesome. Porforio, any parting thoughts here?
I'm excited for next year. Yeah, like
Yes.
WonderCon, WonderCon was just so much fun. Like, like I don't think any of us really talked about it, but like WonderCon, going to WonderCon is like an exercise in itself. There's like little sleep, little rest. Like we're always like doing the next thing.
Yeah.
Like we were like up pretty early, out late at night, and like we didn't get any rest during the day and stuff. Like
Yeah.
um it's its own form of exercise.
Oh yeah.
Um, but it was so much fun. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it. I feel like WonderCon's just a lot of fun no matter like what kind of like comics fan level you are, whether you're like a hardcore comics fan or just like someone who just is brand new and does not know anything about this. I feel like WonderCon is like perfect for any like fan level experience.
Totally. Yeah. Well stated. Yeah, just some random thoughts. You talked about how a lot of kids gravitated to us when we were in our Spider-Man outfits. I
Hmm.
got a lot of that. Like I cosplayed as Miles Morales quite a bit at WonderCon. And I gotta say, the kids love Miles, man. They gravitated to me, and it was just fun because a lot of these kids are younger. When they see me, they don't see, you know, convention attendee wearing Spider-Man cosplay. They see Spider-Man. Like, that's Spider-Man. Like, in front of me is the real Spider-Man. It's the real Miles Morales, right? He's right there. And their excitement was just like infectious. They would come at me. I was just like walking across the exhibit floor, and there's these couple kids who they were like yelling my name like a few booths away, and they ran up to me like, "Can I get a picture?" And they were both wearing Spider-Man costumes too, and it was just really awesome. Um, so yeah, it was. Yeah, I think I've said this before, but a lot of times, when you do cosplay at conventions, it's like you kind of get a taste of being a celebrity a little bit, right? Because people are like asking to take pictures of you and asking to take pictures with you, and it's just a lot of fun. Um, And one other thought, I mean, we kind of talked about this already, but experiencing this convention with you two guys was phenomenal. You guys are great, like partners in crime. We make a great team. And yeah, like everything we mentioned is great. Like the convention was great. It was well run, well organized, a lot of awesome stuff to do. But a lot of times, your experiences in life are only as good as the company you experience it with, right? And getting to experience this with you two, awesome. 5 stars, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely did on that. Like without you guys, like I said, I think WonderCon would be cool and fun, but I mean, if you're not like the right type of people who are just not feeling the same kind of like level excitement that you have, or even if you're nothing wrong with going solo, but it is definitely better just like with a group of folks, and you two just made like the level like just the experience just a lot more fun, like
Yeah,
nerding out and geeking out and getting really excited about the same things was really like another highlight of the experience.
for sure.
Hmm. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, you really nailed it. I think it's cool attending conventions, say on your own or say with people who are maybe a little bit more on the casual side of fandom type stuff. But the three of us, man, we went in and we went in hard. All 3 days we were committed. Um, and it's pretty cool, when you're hanging with like-minded folks, and we all understand each other. Like we're all like deep into this stuff. So to get to experience WonderCon that way was particularly special.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And with that, we can wrap up the episode. This is, oh, wait a minute.
We're
Pump the
not wrapping
brakes.
up.
We're not done yet because we're going to start a new thing. We're doing a new segment. We're hoping to do this every episode. We'll see where it goes. But forever, we've been billing this podcast as a show where we talk comics and comics culture. Well, we definitely talk a lot of comics culture, but we don't talk a whole lot of comics, do we? So, um, we thought it would be cool that if we ended each episode with a little comics recommendation segment. And it could be kind of a rotating thing. But for today, um, Christian, do you have a comics recommendation for us?
I do. So Gene Yang was one of the guests at WonderCon 2023, and so I ended up buying a comic of his, a graphic novel. And the comic is Avatar: The Last Airbender: The Search.
Ooh.
So the Avatar comics kind of take place after the original series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, ends. Um, like a little bit right after, and kind of feature like a bit of an epilogue of the main crew as they kind of go on to different adventures after the main one has ended. This one especially feels like a big epilogue, and it deals with things that come up right after the original series ended. This might be actually a bit of a spoiler, be a little bit of a spoiler for the original series, because the search is about Zuko and Azula trying to find their mother, and like this is really really great. I read this actually in a day. I've been sick and had some time to catch up on some comics, so I read this and just read it
Nice.
through pretty much in one sitting. Gene Yang is the writer, and the art uh, is really really well done. It's done by the artist team called Guri Hiru, who's been getting a lot of prominence in the last few years
Mm.
with Marvel and DC. Also working with Gene Yang on other comics. A big one is Superman smashes the Klan that both Gene Yang and Gurihiro have done, and Gurihiro also has worked on what's really it's Jeff and Gwenpool, and
Nice.
so these was really really well done, as I mentioned previously, because it's a comic that's kind of all about the family trauma that our main characters Zuko and Azula have experienced. Azula is in a very unhinged state, and she has kind of dealt with a lot of the fallout of kind of growing up under the Fire Lord Ozai, and their mother went missing when they were very, very young. And you see the way that has affected the two of them. That's really like the core of this story. And so I won't say much more on that of the story, other than it's a high recommendation if you finished Avatar: The Last Airbender. Great series on Nickelodeon, and it being in comic form, even though it says Nickelodeon, it's it has some of that Nickelodeon like bright colors and action, but also the story was actually a little darker and a little more somber than I was really expecting going in, and uh, that was pleasantly surprising. So big recommendation right there.
Nice pick. And the interior art is all Guru Hero, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, they
Okay,
did.
cool.
Yeah, grew here, both of them. I think it's two
It's like a
women,
team, right?
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a team, and they did both the covers and the art.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
cool. Because I know sometimes they just do covers, but the interiors as well, huh? That's great.
yeah,
Right on. Great pick. And yeah, I think we should continue on with our comics picks. But for now, we can wrap up the episode officially. This is farewell from Henry, Christian, and Porfirio.